Okay, great. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Sorry I'm a couple of minutes late. YouTube was playing a little bit strange with me. But yeah, should be an exciting stream today. We've got two army lists to look at. Normally I look at 2K lists, so today we'll definitely look at 2K list. And afterwards we'll have a bonus like 1.5K list. If you're not aware and you're just tuning in for the first time, so every Sunday we look at Blood Angels army lists, and I try and give my 2 cents. Maybe you've missed a stratagem that I think could help. Maybe you've missed a relic or a warlord, or maybe I'll just give you some advice and tweaks. But yeah, so people really enjoyed Friday's video. That's great. I'm always open to requests as well, so leave me a comment down below if there's anything that you would like me to have a look at. And if you do like the stream, then this channel is all focused on Blood Angels, so consider liking or maybe even subscribing if you want to see more. So yeah, let's dive right into it today. So today we're going to be looking at a list. The first one was submitted by Tyrannid Swarm, and this one was from Discord. The second one that we're going to come to is JMAD's list, which is a 1500 point list. I haven't really looked at 1500 lists before. I usually play 2K, but that's fine. So here is the list, and we will make it in Battlescribe, so you'll see it created in real time. And then the other thing that will be interesting is I've done some maths, so maybe you can add some value to this list. And then sometimes it's cool if players or people send me photos of the lists. I asked for a photo of their leader of the list, so in this one, or their warlord rather than their leader, excuse me. So this is obviously a captain in Terminator armor, rocking the Stormbolter and Thunderhammer. So he's quite a cool captain. And then this is a picture of the list. I like how it's in the end zone of the American football field. But this is an interesting list. So it's like close combat Terminator squad, close combat Terminator squad, 2 regular Terminator squads, I think. Terminator Ancient. I just bought one of these because I think they might be cool. This is almost like another. This whole list is just Terminators, and then I guess 2 transports. So, oh, sorry, that's one of my games this week that wasn't supposed to pop up. But all right, Tyrannid Swarms list. So let's start there, and of course we need to start by adding a battalion. Oh no, this won't be a battalion because this doesn't have any troops. This list, so this is a vanguard force. Interesting. I've never actually done this, but it does say that if your warlord is within, you get the CP refunded. So does that mean you actually don't need any troop choices? This list is just fine. I guess we'll see what Battlescribe says, but I assume that it means that if we add our warlord here, we get 12 CP just like any other list. I mean, it's going to make holding objectives and stuff a little bit more tricky because you don't have any troop choices, but I mean, if you want to run a whole Terminator list, then I guess we haven't been able to do this for a while, and now we can, so this should be interesting. So as most Blood Angels players do, it's 1 additional CP, 1 CP for an additional relic, and then the 2 HQ that he's got, just 2 HQ, which is low for Blood Angels. Like, normally I find 3 HQ kind of limiting. I would like to have a 4th, but I've been running 3. So we have a captain in Terminator armor, and this guy has the Gift of Foresight, which is the Feel No Pain save. And every week we come in here and Battlescribe, and I fail to find things. Anyway, Gift of Foresight. I got this wrong in one of my other videos, so let me just make sure that I got it right today. Yeah, it's the 6 plus Feel No Pain with reroll of 1s. He's given him, obviously, since he's a Terminator captain, it's the Stormbolter, and then the Thunderhammer, because he is the model with Thunderhammer. I think this captain kind of comes in like the start collecting box, right, for Blood Angels. I have one, I don't remember where I got it, but yep, and then he's actually given him the Hammer of Baal, which is kind of interesting because Thunderhammers have -1 to hit normally, so giving him the Hammer of Baal means that I can't find this. Here it goes. Okay, so the Hammer of Baal means there's no -1 to hit, It's just a Thunder Hammer with flat 3 damage. And then a Captain and Terminator armor will hit on 2s. So it's hitting on 2s, rerolling of 1s, rather than hitting on 3s, rerolling of 1s. Thanks to people tuning in. I see some people coming into the chat. Say hi if you're in chat, that'd be cool. And yeah, I mean, it's a tricky one. I've already had a quick look at the list, so we're gonna come back to this Hammer of Baal choice later. I feel like I've got some ideas that might make this stronger, but that's fine. Alright, and we have a Librarian and Terminator armor. And he is Quickening, Unleashed Rage, Force. Quickening makes a lot of sense, additional charge range. Unleashed Rage, giving a friendly unit an additional attack within 12 inches, again, makes a lot of sense. A Storm Bolter and a Force Axe. I wasn't sure what Force Axe is, so it's going to be basically Strength 5, minus 2 d3 damage, so I guess with our +1, our +1 to wound for Breadthirst, you're probably going to be wounding most things on 2s or 3s, right? The weapon skill of Librarian and Terminator armor is kind of poor. I guess he gets the Crux, Terminus, and Vulnerable save as well. Yeah, do you know what? I was considering buying one of these guys because they do have like a really long engagement range, right? In that if you have them in a transport, and I think he has 2 transports in this list, you come out of the transport 3 inches, then you move 5, then you use your Wings of Sanguinius to fly 12, so that's you've moved 20, and then you can charge up to another 12. So basically you would have like a 32-inch engagement range with this guy, and if you got Quickening off, it would be at least 5 attacks, and then at least 6 attacks if we're in Savage Echoes. And I say wounding on 2s. So you're going to get a few hits for sure. He's kind of cheap, I suppose, at 105 points. I mean, I guess at 105 points, some of his stats are going to have to be a little bit weaker, and I guess that's his weapon skill and his ballistic skill. But yeah, I mean, he is a bit tanky, so it's a decent pick. So if you're just wanting to run all Terminators, cool. Okay, let's keep moving through. So there's no troops in this list. I think that's the first time I've ever skipped over troops. So we have a Tartus Terminator squad. Our Tartus is the one that advance. You half the advance distance. Or is that Cat? I think that's Cataphracti, because the Cataphracti get the default 4+ save. Okay, so the Tartus they still have the 5+ save as normal Terminators. The Captain or the Sergeant has a Plasma Blaster. I've never actually used a Plasma Blaster. What is that? Assault 2? Oh, okay, so it's like basically a close range. It's kind of like a Plasma Pistol, but maybe a little stronger because it's Assault 2. That's actually an interesting weapon. I kind of like that. A Power Sword, and it says Grenade Harness. Maybe that's a default. Oh no, here it is. Grenade Harness. Yeah, I don't own a Tartus Terminator squad. What is a Grenade Harness? Okay, so it's basically a grenade he throws within assault range. Okay, cool. And then we have a Tartus Terminator with a heavy weapon, which is the Reaper Autocannon. So we'll take down one of these and we'll add a heavy weapon one. Reaper Autocannon, and he had it with a Power Fist. So the Reaper Autocannon is basically just it's heavy 7, or heavy 4, sorry, strength 7. So it's like an autocannon with 1 more strength but 2 less shots. Same AP and same damage. And then the Power Fist again. I think Power Fists, when they become 2 damage, they'll be a considerably stronger close combat weapon. And then we've got 3 Tartus Terminators with Lightning Claws. So it's actually 3 with Lightning Claws, and remove these 3. So 185 points. That's usually what Terminators seem to be coming in at, like around 185 points. It seems a little bit counterproductive maybe to have these two really strong weapons and then put 3 with Lightning Claws, but I don't really know what is their normal. So their normal one is Stormbolter's Power Fists. So you're saving 3 points a model, but you're getting Lightning Claws. I don't know if that's that strong. I was running Lightning Claws myself, and I changed them out so that it's less. So I had less Lightning Claw guys, especially if you're paying extra points for a heavy weapon. I'd maybe try and make the squads more focused on one thing, but okay. And then there was a Terminator Ancient, and the Terminator Ancient has a Thunder Hammer. See, I've been building an Ancient, and I have this guy with the Thunder Hammer, but I hate how they made Thunder Hammers cost 40 points on all characters. And then Standard of Sacrifice, that's an obvious choice. So there's nothing else to do with this guy. Okay. I'm just thinking I'm going to have to come back to something. Then we have a Terminator Assault Squad with the Sergeant with the Thunder Hammer and Storm Shield, and the whole squad with Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields. So we have none with Lightning Claws, we have 4 with Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields, we have the Sergeant with Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields. For 19 points, that's a lot more attractive. And then this squad comes in as 210, so the Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields do cost the most. I'm curious to see what's going to happen if Storm Shields get changed to be a 4+ invulnerable save and a +1 to your save, because Terminators obviously already save on 2s, so is that going to basically give them a 1+ save so they can just ignore -1 AP? It seems like that might be what's going to happen. Okay, and then you put a Teleport Homer into the squad. And then the next squad is an Assault Squad with all Lightning Claws. So, and again, Teleport Homer. And then the next squad is a regular Terminator squad. Do you know what? I have like 5 Terminator squads. Just looking at this, just kind of making me laugh a little bit. When these guys get buffed to 3 wounds per pop, and each squad is 15 wounds up for 10, it'd be really interesting to see, if it's worth, if this is a viable list, I guess. So the next Terminator squad is Sergeant with the Power Fist and Stormbolter. That's kind of standard. We're putting a Heavy Flamer into this list because, right now Heavy Flamer I don't know is super effective, but if they're buffing the range to 12 inches so you can fire it on the deep strike, then maybe it's a bit more effective. So we've got the Heavy Flamer and the Power Fist, and then 2 with Chain Fist, 2 with Stormbolters, 2 with Power Fists. Okay, so Power Fists and Chain Fists cost exactly the same as it stands, right? And at the moment, Chain Fists currently have 2 damage a hit, and Power Fists have D3. But I think the rumour is that that's getting flipped, so that the Chain Fist will have D3 -4, and the Power Fist will be like 2 damage -3, and it'll be more like the Power Fist will be the more consistent weapon. Because on one of my videos just a few weeks ago, I was like reworking. I'd bought some Space Marine heroes, and I've been reworking some Terminator squads to get Chain Fists into them. But I think the Power Fist is going to be the more common, powerful weapon, which seems a bit strange because you would think that Terminators with their big Chain Fists, you would think it would. I mean, they do have the initial -1 AP, but you would think they would maybe be the ones that have the consistent damage. But who do we know? I mean, I think the Power Fist is going to be changed. So I can't really comment too much on this right now until we know what's going to change. But I think in my experience, having 2 damage is always going to be stronger than having D3 damage, because that's always going to come back to bite you when you roll like a 1 or a 2, and then you only do 1 damage and leave a model with like 1 wound left. I think just having the flat consistent 2 damage is way better. And then another Terminator squad. Oh, sorry, that one had a teleport homer as well. I mean, this guy's going to be teleporting all over the map. And then the final Terminator squad, also with a teleport homer. I'm not sure you need so many teleport homers, man. Power Fist and Stormbolter, we have... So basically this is a carbon copy of the last squad, just... I think the last squad had 2 Chain Fists, 1 Power Fist. This squad is going to have 2 Power Fists, 1 Chain Fist. So 2 Power Fist, 1 Chain Fist, 1 Heavy Flamer, and then the Sergeant. And I think the one with the Heavy Flamer in both sections is using the Power Fist. Okay, so 187 squads at a point, or 187 points a squad, yes, correct. And then a Land Raider Crusader. I know the Crusader has a larger capacity than the normal Land Raider for traveling, so it's 2 Hurricane Bolters, a Multi-Melta, a Stormbolter, the Twin Assault Cannon, and then we've put a Hunter Killer Missile on here as well. And I want to say that the Crusader can normally carry 16 units, so is that 8 Terminators it can carry? 16 chapter infantry, yep, and each Terminator takes the space of 2, so it can carry 8 Terminators, and then a Flyer, which is the Storm Raven gunship, with twin las cannon, twin multi-melta, twin hurricane bolter. So twin multi-melta, twin las cannon, twin hurricane bolter, coming in as 1998 points, and I think the Storm Raven carries 10. Oh, sorry, so it's 12, yeah, it's normally like a squad and then one other guy, or a Terminator squad and one other guy. Okay, so this list, I guess, is set up in that you have your 2 transports. Your transports have a little bit of killing power in that you've got a twin las cannon and twin multi-melta. You have 4 hurricane bolters between them and a twin assault cannon, so you've got like 50 odd shots when you're shooting against strength 4 weaker targets. And you know, I guess you've got your one-off shot of your Hunter Killer Missile. I never really rate those just because it's 5 points and you can miss. And then you've got, I think you put 1, 2, 3, 4 teleport homers. So I mean, I guess in terms of being able to teleport back and secure objectives, that's quite strong. And also, deep striking with this list will be very strong because you'll have options, right? In that, you've got 6 Terminator squads and they can all deep strike, and you've got your captain and your librarian that can also deep strike. So quite a lot of deep strike options here. When I was looking at this list beforehand, I mean, when I was looking at it beforehand, what I was thinking was charging from deep strike is always quite unreliable, right? And what I say by that is, I've done some math. I put it into a spreadsheet here, and if you're not familiar with the website that I got this from, it's AnyDice. So AnyDice lets you put in any roll and then get an output, right? So if you roll 2d6, and as a Blood Angel you need 8 if you deep strike in to get the charge, because we have the +1 from charging. Add up these numbers from like the chances of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and you can see straight away there are 41% chance of a charge from a deep strike. So if you're a Blood Angels player, or I mean, if you need the 9, it's even less. Take off 13%, right? So like, if you needed 9 from a deep strike, you're like a 28% chance of getting that charge off. So it's a 41% chance of getting this charge off with these guys if you deep strike in. So I mean, as I play the game, I don't like requiring to make charges to win battles. especially if they're from Deep Strike, right? Like if you've got 2 Sanguinary Guards coming in, and if you drop them in turn 3, both 9 inches away from the enemy, the odds just say you're not going to pass either of those charges, right? That's like the math behind it. It's like if you do 2 charges, you have an 82% chance of that happening, because it's a 41% chance. And it's just so. To me, looking at this list, the first thing I saw that I just thought maybe might be more interesting is like, take your captain or take your librarian, and if you're gonna deep strike any of these units, either have the captain drop this Hammer of Baal. I mean, I think hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s is still strong. I mean, I don't think I know hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s is really strong, but I think if your captain gets where he needs to be, Captain and Terminator armor must have, so he's got 4 attacks by default, so 5 when he charges, 6 from when we get into turn 3 in Savage Echoes, and I mean you can pay 1 CP for Red Rampage, so he has between 7 and 9 attacks. So 7 and 9 attacks, hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s, I think that's strong enough. I don't know if this icon is worth it. I mean, maybe you just want to get all those hits in, and then it's a hard one. What I feel like you'd get a lot more value, or what you might get a lot of value out of, is the new Blood of Baal one. This icon of the angel, right? Which is when a charge roll is made by a friendly Blood Angel unit, or units within 3 inches can re-roll any of the dice. So if you imagine you put this on the captain, or you put it on like the librarian, and you deep strike, let's say you deep strike these 2 assault squads. So normally if you deep strike those assault squads, you're just looking at 41% chance to charge. So I guess like 2 out of 5 times you make that charge. The odds really aren't with you. So if you've got 2 squads, you try and charge them both, there's a good chance you can just fail both of them and nothing happens. No one gets in. So also in any dice you can write functions. So I wrote a little math function here which basically lets you re-roll a bad result, right? So in this function I basically say like we're gonna roll the same 2 dice, but we're gonna re-roll 2, 3, 4, 5, 6s and 7s using the same 2 dice again, and then output the numbers. So if we do that, you can see the jump, right? Because all these numbers here will be re-rolled. So if you had that icon of the ancient, no, not icon of the ancient, sorry, icon of the angel on one of those captains, your charge percentage now jumps to 65%. So if that captain jumps in with 2 assault squads either side of him, now those assault squads are making like 65% of their charges against 41%. So you can see straight away it's suddenly from like they're probably both going to fail their charge to they've probably both got a fairly decent chance of making the charge. And remember as well, if you're ancient or your captain or whoever, I guess it wouldn't be the ancient because he needs the standard of sacrifice, and I do really like the standard of sacrifice. I always run it around like most of my troops. But I feel like if your captain had it as well, maybe it means your captain and the 2 assault squads can all deep strike. Remember, the captain's percentage charge now goes from 41 to 65 as well. You have to do the other 2 groups first, right? So that like your captain is down within 3 inches of them and they can all get this bonus. But yeah, I mean, I just if I get that this is maybe a bit of a more fun list, but Terminators are kind of slow, so I feel like you aren't going to have all of the Terminators moving up across the battlefield. Like, maybe the shooting ones can, flanked by the Land Raider and the Storm Talon, or maybe a couple of them could, but I feel like it really depends on your opponent. The threat of having a deep strike somewhere can always be strong, especially if it means that the opponent has to leave forces behind at objectives or something like that. Excuse me. So yeah, just looking at some numbers here, that's the value that icon of the angel gives. So if you're going to deep strike 2 or 3 units, and obviously this number gets insanely higher if the charge isn't 9-inch charge, right? So if the charge is much less, then you can just be aware of that. But Yeah, I mean, too many times I've lost games because I've needed a 9-inch charge, for example. So I've tried to like dig into why that is and what I can do to deal with it, or not have to. You don't want to be winning or losing a game on these assault terminators need to get an 8, because that is a bad roll, right? Like it's not even a 50-50 chance. You wouldn't bet on that in a casino, so why would you bet on it in the board game, I guess? Okay. So yeah, a kind of interesting Terminator list. I'm trying to think what... I mean, the one thing it's going to like you're going to have to leave a Terminator squad on the objective in your own deployment zone, or right outside your own deployment zone. I mean, it's going to be 170 points. I mean, that's a bit horrible to have to leave 170 points back in your deployment zone. I think that's why right now I'm really favouring infiltrators. I'm working on painting a squad of 10 of them just because they have that 12-inch denial. So for enemy deep strikes, so you can just leave the squad of infiltrators on the point in your objective. It's only 120 points, and they kind of guarantee that you'll hold it. I mean, it'll take your opponents at least 2 turns to get in there if they deep strike, because one turn they'll need to drop, and then the second turn they can move and charge. And remember, infiltrators do have that bonus with their bolt carbines. I think they're called Master Marksman bolt carbines, sorry. And when you roll to hit, a 6 automatically wounds. So even if they're deep striking in something very strong, likely those guys are sat on their objective, so they don't really need to move. So you can just rapid fire at whatever they drop in. And like if you're rolling 10 dice, how many 6s are you going to get? A couple. So you're going to do a few wounds to whatever drops in at least. And yeah, it's kind of they're kind of good, really strong denial, I guess. So that's that. And then I mean, like the fact that you just have 1 HQ left over seems like it would be. There's always worth, like the Blood Angels, or HQs are so strong. I feel like there's always going to be something worth taking in there. You could have some sort of Sangare priest that just runs around with your banner bearer, I guess. So your banner bearer is creating the bubble of 5+ feel no pains from the Standard of Sacrifice, and then if any Terminators do die, you just resurrect one of them or add D3 wounds back to a unit every turn. So if you dropped your Terminator squad and took the infiltrators and the Sanguinary Priest, that would probably just about be the exact same points. I mean, the Sanguinary Priest is 65, infiltrators are 120, so that's 185. So you could just almost swap out 2 of those different squads for that. And maybe that just makes the list a little bit more viable. I guess you do still get your 12 CP though. You don't need to have the troop choices anymore. So, I mean, interesting list, I guess. Thanks for the submission, and thank you even more for the pictures. Not many people have sent me pictures for list submissions. So I do appreciate Tyrannid Swarm. It's pretty cool, and it's really interesting to see a outside the box list. I wouldn't say this is a normal list by any shape. And you know what? If we speak about Terminators for just a minute more, then there's a couple of really nice, interesting stratagems that you have around this, right? Like, we do have Strike of the Archangels, and that is use that stratagem when the Terminators deep strike on the battlefield, and or relocate to their Terminator homer, I imagine. And you can reroll failed hits for that unit until the start of your next turn. So that would include your shooting, your close combat, enemy close combat as well. That's really cool. The Ardor of Content. Unbridled Ardor is also going to be kind of an interesting one you could have with these Terminators. In Unbridled Armor, you can use that on any Blood Angels unit, and they essentially become a character. And they can heroically intervene 6 inches. So, if your enemy is moving around comes too close to those Terminators in their movement, you could end up heroically intervening into them. And then there is also Fury of the First, which is just like a smaller buff, just for 1 CP, where you can, until the end of the phase, you can add 1 to the hit roll of any Terminator unit. So I mean, that's useful when you're hitting with a bunch of Thunderhammers. And I guess the other thing that you didn't mention, I guess, let me read your list really quick to check that you didn't mention it. No, you didn't mention it, but I think you would for sure put Death Visions of Sanguinius on your Captain and Terminator armor. I mean, I think there's no reason not to, right? With 1 CP, it gives him 1 extra attack, it gives him it improves his Feel No Pain by 1, and if your Captain has got a 2+ armor save, the 3+ from the it's a 4+ from his Iron Halo. I feel like Gift of Foresight is fine. I mean, it's a solid choice. You can get rid of Gift of Foresight and instead pay the 1 CP for, if you did join the Death Campaign, you can get rid of that, and then you pay the 1 CP for Refusal to Die, which basically for 1 turn improves the Feel No Pain from 6 to 5 or 6, or sorry, you declare it when you're a target and then it lasts for the rest of the phase. So if you've got targeted in the shooting phase or the close combat phase, you could do that. And if you do that, then what that would mean would be you could take Speed of the Primarch, which I've been using to some great success in my battles in 9th edition. Like, just being able to always be fighting first is very strong. I feel like it used to be more important to have like the more damage or the Gift of the Foresight, but with the changes to the fight phase, in that you fight first in the enemy's turn if there's no charges, if you add the Speed of the Primarch, then you fight first all the time. I mean, I guess you would have fought first all the time with this before, but I feel like I've had characters with less powerful weapons that I've had success with this. So this character, if you did keep him with a hammer, a ball, and whatnot, he'd be a monster. But okay, I'm going to wrap up on this list. I will save it as I always do. And Tyrannid Swarm, I will send you that list. So thank you very much for the submission. And then what we'll do is we'll have a quick. So this is, I guess, I'll say it's a quick list. I mean, there's no real difference to it. This list is from the comments on YouTube. So this is my by J Mad. Don't know what he's mad about. Hopefully it's not that he's been getting beat as Blood Angels player. But he sent me a 1500 point list. So I don't typically play 1500 point games. But I thought I would have a look at his list because I'm sure plenty of people out there do play 1500 point lists, and his list is a bit more focused and competitive as opposed to the Terminator list. Not that the Terminator list wouldn't be competitive, but I think maybe it's just a bit more standard, I guess, is a better way of putting it. Excuse me. So, battle size is again 1000 to 2000 points. So I guess it's the same number of CP that you get, and it doesn't look like he took any additional Armory of Baals. So we start, it's a Librarian Dreadnought. This is one of the few Dreadnoughts that I don't own, but it seems like a lot of people give it value, and he's given it Artisan of War, Shield of Sanguinius, Wings of Sanguinius, Furioso Fist, Melt-A-Gun, and then obviously the Force Halberd, I think it's called. Furioso Force Halberd, my bad. So basically, by giving this Artisan of War, that halberd's doing 4 damage a pop. This guy's like a bloody glass cannon at this point then, right? Like, so he is moving 6. He can then fly 12. He can then charge. And he's sitting with strength 10, weapon skill of 2s, and -4 damage a pop. What did he give him? Shield of He didn't give him any quickening, which is interesting, but he gave himself an invulnerable save. I feel like this guy's such a glass cannon. I'm not sure the invulnerable save is going to really do him a whole hell of a lot of good. I mean, I think I'd probably just go with... I'd probably just go with quickening, right? Because, like, if someone... the Dreadnought's only strength 8... Or, sorry, it's only toughness... Toughness 7, 8 wounds. And only a 3+ save. So if you get hit by las cannons, like a couple of las cannons, this guy could potentially be gone. I mean, your chances of saving that, even or 5 or 6, are pretty low. So I think you just need to... I think you just want quickening and guarantee you can pop them forward. The 6 move, then the 12 fly, then you get the +2 from the quickening and the +1 from being a Blood Angels. So that's 21 already. No, 6 + 12 + 3 is 19 already. If you roll Snake Eyes then on your charge roll, it's 21 already. So yeah, I think you just try and keep him 20 inches away from the enemy and then just jump forward and just splat them. I think that's the way that this guy would work best. A Sanguinary Priest, just a default one. I mean, I guess that's fine. Okay. What is this for troops? 2 Assault Intercessor squads. Actually, 2 massive Assault Intercessor squads. 10-man squads. Okay. And a regular Intercessor squad. Again, 10-man squad. I'm not sure why you would need these to be 10-man squads. Like, I know for the regular Intercessors anyway, the Sergeant gets a free chainsword. So if you break this up into 2 squads, you basically get an extra chainsword for free. Having them as a 10-man squad, what are the advantages against the disadvantages? Well, you have to deal with morale a bit more if they're a 10-man squad. You can't split them up and leave 5 of them behind on an objective. I mean, I guess you would just roll once if you're going to charge or something, but overall, like, I don't see a huge advantage to having them as 10-man squads, but, I mean, you can combat squad them within the battle, so maybe that's something you do, but typically I just set them as 5s. Again, the Assault Intercessors, the Sergeant gets an extra attack, so by setting these at 5s, you get 1 more attack between them. I know that's probably not a lot, but it also means you can move around the battlefield a bit more, and typically if you're being shot at as well, if they're in smaller squads, your opponent can end up wasting shots as well, right? Because you have to declare the weapons before you start rolling, so if they declare, I don't know, they've got a Dreadnought with, let's say, 2 assault cannons. If they think maybe 1 assault cannon isn't going to finish the squad, they potentially have to declare both at the 1 squad, and then they can lose shots after they kill that squad. So yeah, I don't really see any reason to have these as 10-man squads, but that's your call. Aggressors, I love aggressors. I hope these are the Boltstorm ones. Yeah, the Boltstorm ones, they're amazing. They're so strong right now. Having them with the Priest as well is like crazy strong. What you don't have here though is an ancient model, and I feel like if you don't want to drop anything to get, I feel like you have to. The ancient is so valuable, right? Like, you know about Standard of Sacrifice, right? Which is, I'll just read it for you. If you don't know about it, you need to have an ancient. So it's ancient model only. The bearer of the Standard of Sacrifice gains the following ability in addition to those described in the datasheet. So whatever standard bearer you have, he keeps whatever the current standard gets, but he also gets roll a d6 each time a Blood Angel's infantry or biker within 6 inches of this model loses a wound. On a 5+, this is always ignored and has no effect. Models with a Black Rage are not affected. So, yeah, I mean, like, if you just drop 5 of these Assault Intercessors straight away, take a Primaris Ancient. Sorry, not Assault Intercessors. Drop 5 of the regular Intercessors. Take a Primaris Ancient, or take a Sanguinary Ancient, or take a Terminator Ancient. They all have their bonuses. You know, the Sanguinary one can fly. The Primaris one, he actually has their rule that when units die, they can make 1 final attack on a 4+. The Terminator one has the same rule, but he wears, he's got an invulnerable save because he's a Terminator. So if you take one of these, you can basically give all of these troops that you're keeping near him within 6 inches, and only one model of the unit needs to be within 6 inches, right? They all get a 5+ feel no pain. Super strong, especially with the aggressors. Like, you have the aggressors near that and your Sanguinary Priest like JMad. Your opponent's going to waste like so much firepower to just take out an aggressor or two, and then you can just heal them back up. Being that aggressors are obviously tougher to wound with toughness 5. And looking down your list, I know that I did look at your list briefly as well. You've got 2 Eradicator squads, right? So, like, not having the Standard of Sacrifice around these Eradicator squads, to me, is criminal, right? Like, it's just like, you absolutely want to have that. The model, I mean, you can even have a regular Company Ancient with it. So you have the options are the Company Ancient. I believe the Blade Guard Ancient can't have it yet because they didn't give him the Ancient keyword. Maybe that's going to change. I feel like it's BB Games Workshop being. Hopefully, it's an oversight, because I think it's really stupid that a guy who's got Ancient in the name doesn't have the keyword Ancient. Yeah, so I feel like they'll change that. Hopefully, they'll change it. But having aggressors and eradicators around a Standard of Sacrifice and with a priest here, it's huge. It's so strong. I mean, I play it in every game, and I don't think I've got any. I mean, I actually think the standard is more powerful than the priest, right? Because like the priest once per turn on a 4+ can revive a unit or give D3 wounds. Potential, the most the priest can ever do is like 3 wounds or 1 wound to a unit that's lost. Whereas like the Standard of Sacrifice, you could potentially have to take 20-30 saves on that unit, or multiple infantry units. Remember, this will work on your characters. It works on everything, bikes and everything. And it's on a 5+, you just ignore it. So you could potentially save like 10. I don't know, I'm sure I've seen myself save like 10 wounds in a turn from the Standard Sacrifice. So definitely think about maybe changing that out. And then you got 2 Invictor tactical war suits. So you know what? I actually don't own any tactical war suits like that. There's a few models I still don't own. I actually said to my wife just last week, I was like, I almost have everything. But I guess tactical war suits, the Furioso Dreadnought, and like maybe there's one other unit that I don't own. I feel like I own everything else on the list, and usually I own multiples of them. But yeah, so I was wanting to try out some of these guys myself, so maybe I'll just have a look at their stats right now. Let me pull it up on my other monitor. I've got the codex here. It's a bit easier to read than Battle Scribe. Invictor Tactical. Yeah, so Invictor Tactical Warsuit is a single model equipped with a Fragstorm grenade launcher, so that's what? Assault V6, no AP. A Heavy Bolter. Well, Heavy Bolter is Heavy 3, Strength 5, 1 damage -1, but it's maybe changing to 2 damage, that's the rumour. The Incendium Cannon, which is 12-inch, heavy 2d6. So it's basically a heavy flamer, but with 2d6 as opposed to 1d6. 2 Iron Hilt heavy stubbers. The Iron Hilt is heavy 3, strength 4 -1, 1 damage. And then the Invictor Fist, which is 2 times strength. So it's basically like your good old power fist, same as the Redemptor Dreadnought. So, and then he has a special rule, doesn't he? So when he's in with 1 inch of an enemy model, his Heavy Bolter is basically a 3-inch pistol. So he can shoot his Heavy Bolter in close combat. I mean, that's a tide over from the last edition, though, right? Where like you couldn't shoot heavy weapons in close combat, whereas now you can just shoot them in close combat. So I guess there's no advantage really over that. Like, as long as the weapon doesn't blast, you can shoot it in close combat now. So I don't know where I've messed up, because you said this list was 1,500 points. 200, 200, 200. Oh, I've added 3 of these guys. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, it's 1,500 points right on JMAD. So, so they still have 13 wounds, toughness 6, 3+ save. So I guess they're a little bit weaker than your Redemptor Dreadnought, about 20 points cheaper. And the only real difference in terms of they move 2 inches further, but they have 1 less toughness. And their standard weapon is the Incendiary Cannon, but you can switch out the twin autocannon for the same point cost. And the twin Iron Hail autocannon is what, strength 7, something like that. Heavy 6, so it's basically an assault cannon with 1 more strength, 1 more damage. You know what? That's not bad actually. That twin Iron Hail auto cannon, in terms of like mowing down infantry units. But I mean, I guess, yeah, having both of them. So they're basically close combat units with the Incendium cannon. I hope I'm saying that right. So I guess this, for 1,500 points, this seems well rounded, right? You have like these 2 crazy close combat units that are going to want to get up in the front lines. They're going to take some fire. You've got the Eradicators behind them shooting. You've got these Assault Intercessors, which are definitely decent. I'd swap out an Ancient. That's what I would do. And I kind of feel that right now you've got a good balance. The rumour that I've heard is Eradicators are undercosted, and I think at 40 points per model they probably are. So I imagine they're going to get a jump, much like how Aggressors got a jump in points per model. Your HQ Librarian is going to be trying to get into close combat. So I guess you're going to be jumping like 3. You're going to have 3 things up in their face, and then you're going to have some fire behind and the healer. Yeah, I mean, I think my main criticism with this list is to just get yourself the Standard of Sacrifice. I don't know enough about these tactical war suits. Like I said, I haven't played with them much. What keywords do they have? Are they a vehicle? Okay, so they are a vehicle. So, I mean, they can't use the special Dreadnought stratagems that we have. They could use the Armour of Contempt to ignore mortal wounds. They could use like Lucifer pattern engines to get across the battlefield further. That might be quite interesting. So you can guarantee that they have a 6-inch advance. But beyond that, I don't dislike them. I've never played one on the battlefield. I'm going to need to get one and play it, I guess. And I'm still waiting for my damn... I did some trades to get some Indomitus stuff early, but I'm still waiting for my box, unfortunately. So, I haven't played Eradicators, but from what I see and hear about Eradicators, they are very, very strong. So, okay, I'm going to save up this list, and I'll send it on to you, JMAD. Thank you for submission. It was definitely cool to see a 1,500 point list, what that looks like. As I say, I don't play a lot of 1,500 point games, but the one thing I would change is the getting the Standard of Sacrifice for sure. It doesn't really care what ancient you bring in to do it with. And then maybe split these squads down. Yeah, and have some sort of like bubble in the middle of the map with the Eradicators, the Aggressors, the Standard of Sacrifice, the Healer. I feel like that could be really strong. I feel like that's still strong even in a larger point game. So, okay, if you guys, obviously if you've watched the stream, you know that every week we do army lists. So if you've got any, please send them over. I'll be looking to review them next week. And my schedule for this week, hopefully I'll have another comparison video out or some sort of cool tactics stats video on Friday, and I might have a bonus video on Tuesday. I'm working on a few different things, one of which is this guy, and he's just been magnetized, and I've got so much glue on my fingers it's ridiculous. But I've got some ideas on what this week's bonus video would be. So thanks very much for the people that tuned in. It's really cool to see. I think that was my highest concurrent this week again. It seems to be going up every week. So appreciate the support. And if you did like it, or if you've got anything else to tell me, please leave me a comment below. Okay, I'll speak to you all guys in the next one. Until next time, by the blood are we made.